Gladys Richardson, and she's originally from South Media, which she now lives in North Media. So we're trying to get some background history of her experience in South Media. So now our first question will be, Ms. Gladys, what was your mother's and father's name?
What?
What was your mother and father's name?
My his name was Gary Burton, and my mother's name was Sarah Hester Burton. Her maiden name?
Yeah, her maiden name.
Oh, her name was
Beecham.
Beecham, Sarah Hester Beecham.
And where were they from?
Where?
Where did they live? Where did they live before?
Cheney.
They lived in Cheney?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then that means most of these people are like, most of those people lived up in either Conkersville or
Yeah.
And that's amazing because
Yeah,
a lot of people don't
Concord
even.
School was the first school I went to, but I lived with my aunt then.
Okay.
You're downtown.
Oh, you lived with your aunt?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, who was your aunt?
Delia Townsend.
Oh, okay. All right. And they lived right there in
Concord.
Conkersville. So how long did you live right there?
Oh, I didn't live out there too long. But I guess 2 or 3 years or so.
But what year was that about? Do you
Oh,
remember?
Lord, that was
we ain't even gonna go there, right? So we're going back. So then, when you left there, you moved into South Media.
Moved in media.
Oh, in North
South-
Media. No, you went to South Media or
Yeah.
North Media? You went to South Media.
Yeah,
Okay, and which street did you live on in South Media?
that's Leeper Street. Was the first
Okay,
street.
so you came right from Conkersville and went to South Media.
I thought you said
At
you lived in the
Leeper.
park, Mother.
Huh?
I thought you said you lived in the park.
In what, Media Park?
Uh-huh.
I don't think so. Did I?
I thought you told me, but that's okay. You go ahead and
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember all that.
So then you moved into South Media, and that was about what year? Can you remember what year that was? Or do you have an idea, Gladys?
Who?
What year you moved into South Media?
Oh no, I don't have any year. I was a little young girl.
Okay,
I was a young child.
so you know, what year
You
were you
mean-
born?
I was born 1933.
Okay, were you in South Media when you?
I
Were you in
guess
South
I guess
Media
that's
when
my
she
mother.
was born?
Huh?
Were you in South Media when she was born?
Let me see. I can't remember. I guess it was. I don't know.
I was born in Chester Hospital, and I think
Yeah.
I lived in South Mead at
Yeah.
101 Emerald Street.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you know that it was you were there in 1933.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
I was.
Oh,
Were you in the same house on Leeper Street?
yeah.
No, we lived at 101 Emerald Street first.
Emerald Street first.
Okay, you lived at 101.
Where Helen Ball used to live.
Oh, okay.
That's
All
where
right.
we lived, next to the Otter brothers. Mr. Otters.
Okay, and the Otter brothers are the ones that you were talking
Well, he
about.
was a man who used to shoe the horses at that time. But his sons went on to be the big builders of Riddlewood out there in Lyman.
Okay.
But we lived on 101 Emerald Street, and Mr. Francis King was the plumber. He lives at the corner house, and Ineffable and Uncle Ollie lived across the street. Uncle Joe Patton lived across the street. Aunt Betty Patton lived down the street.
Okay, now how are they related
And a
to you?
hairdresser.
They are our cousins by marriage. Because there's Aunt Ethel. Aunt Ethel was married to
Oliver Boy.
Aunt Ethel was married to Uncle Joe first.
Oh, yeah.
That's how she became. That's how Martin Patton came into
Oh,
the,
yeah.
to the picture. And Uncle Joe and Mr. Aunt Betty's husband Pete were brothers. Okay, Pete Patton, or
So
Peter
they were-
Patton, or whatever his name.
So they were
Well, they're related by marriage. We're
Okay,
married. Like
okay.
Aunt Ethel was my aunt.
Okay.
Okay. My father's sister.
Okay, your father's sister.
My father's
Okay,
sister.
okay.
Right, mother?
Okay.
Is that how it was? My
Yeah,
father's
yeah.
sister.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or with my,
She
I'm
was-
trying to think. It's so far back. I know
That's
grandmother.
how come Gloria.
Grandmother lived behind Uncle Joe and Aunt Betty Patton in that house in the behind of them. And her name was Sarah Hester Burton Moat, because she later married
Mo.
Moat.
Okay.
And Miss, what's her name? Miss, Mr. George and Miss Martha lived in a little house behind us, off of Emerald Street. Not down on Vernon, but off of Emerald Street. They lived behind us. The Lugios, who are the big, had the
Yeah.
big quarry,
Right, right.
they lived behind us too. The Simcoxes, they lived up from us too.
Okay, now the Simcox and the Ludios, they were white.
Yeah, they were white
And the
families.
Artist family?
Yeah, they were white families.
families too, right?
And yeah, and the guy who was the mailman, he was also our neighbor, Bobby Hammond.
Okay.
He's living today. He lives in the Holly House up
Isn't
there on
that something?
Providence Road. Mhm.
Okay, okay.
Yes, uh-huh.
And he was white too?
Yes,
Right,
they had
okay.
a lot of, and you know,
And
Mr.
well, most, yeah.
Yeah.
When we,
And Mr.
when we took
Williams.
the dad out, there was a
Mr.
lot
Williams had the house in the alley. You know, Ralph and Bunny and Hazel and all them,
Okay.
Florence and you know, they were the Williams family. They lived in the alley from us, down from us.
Who was that?
You don't know the Williams family?
You remember, yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah,
remember
Bunny
Williams.
and Martin.
Uh-huh.
Martin married,
Yes.
ended up marrying
Married
Jesse.
Yes.
Jesse,
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
Jesse Matthews. Uh-huh.
Yeah, mhm.
Yes.
The one that Miss
Uh-huh.
Christine had raised.
Uh-huh. And then later we moved down to 805 Forest Street. Okay, that was it with Aunt Sarah and Uncle Horace Durham.
Okay.
And then later we bought that house on Leeper Street, 442 Leeper Street, from Mrs. Tate and Mr. Tate. And that's where I remember, you know, Glory coming up from there,
From
at
there.
442 Leeper Street.
Okay.
Yes.
Then at that time, the Bailiffs had they were down.
They had their funeral home.
Yeah, they were down at,
They was down on the forest.
you right on
Forest
Forest Street.
Between Ronald and the Wallingford
Right,
Avenue.
right.
Yes.
And they had their little place that was in the back where
Yes,
they
their
did
little
the
houses.
bombing.
Yes, they did the embalming.
I remember
Yes.
Anime and them used to go down there and peep in the window.
Yes.
And they
Uh-huh.
said that what happened was Quick and them were all down there, and they said when a person dies, like when they do embalming or something, the air gets in them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes they'll raise up. The poor soul raised up, and Anime and Quick and them took off. Then they claimed that Mr. Bates had killed a live man. They know he was alive because he had raised up. So it was some funny things back
Then
there.
remember they
Them things were
moved
so
up the street in that alley?
Yeah.
Remember?
hmm
And Mr. Hines, who had the apartment up the street on Vernon Street, his house was across the street from the Bailiff's funeral home at
Yeah.
that time.
And right.
And
he
you
was
come-
the one that married Pauline
Yeah,
Lindsay.
Pauline Lindsay.
Mhm.
And you come up the street, Miss Mooney had a store on the corner of
Yeah.
Vernon and Wallingford Avenue.
Mhm.
And Miss Whirl had a store on the corner of Leeper and Vernon.
Mhm.
And Miss Christine had a store, one door in off of Forest
And
Street.
what is it?
And not Forest, Washington
Washington,
Avenue
Washington.
and Ronaldson.
Oh, right.
And if you go up where we first lived on 101 Emerald Street, we had a store called what was those people's names?
McHugh's.
McHugh's.
Oh, yeah,
McHugh's
Got the
store.
good old ground meat.
Yes, yes.
I love to go to
Yeah,
that
that was
store.
yeah, that was another store that was up there. All of us used to go up
Grandmother
there.
used to send me to the store to get 7-Up, and she liked butter thins. That's what I used to go to the store to get for grandmother. Butter thins and 7-Up. That's what we did to run on Emerald Street.
Mhm.
But they also had a machine at the gas station that you put a nickel in, press the lever, you remember?
Yes,
Yeah.
that was years ago. There was a gas station there.
Yeah,
It was a
right.
gas station
Yeah,
there.
it was.
Yeah.
It really was. I can remember we used to go up there all the time, walk up there to McHugh's.
Yeah, McHugh's
kids,
store.
Yeah. And then it's like, when you went to South Media, you joined the St. Paul Church, or did you belong to another church?
No, I
Before
went to
that.
St. Paul.
And so you joined St. Paul about what year?
No, I don't know what
It
year.
must have been, Lord. It must have been in the 30s.
Oh, Reverend Ricketts was there.
Right.
Yeah, okay. So I remember Reverend Ricketts too, and we did, because we were there too at that time. But I don't know what year he was in there.
Well, Reverend Ricketts was there, but I remember your grandfather. Was that Mr. Webb? Was he your grandfather?
Yeah,
Well, I remember him being there.
yeah, he was there.
Who, Mr. Who?
Mr.
Grandpa.
Webb.
Oh, well,
I
I
remember
was
him
in
being in
there.
that church as a minister.
Right there.
Yeah, he used to have a hearing aid.
Because he lived across the street.
Yeah,
You live across the
He
street
was-
where your sister lives
And
at.
then
Yeah.
later on, I remember Reverend Ricketts, and then that, what was it, Reverend Ricketts?
Reverend Ricketts and Reverend Gibbs.
Reverend Gibbs.
Yeah,
And
they
then,
I was
yeah.
there in there at
Mhm.
the time.
But you know what? See,
and Mr. Hall, I remember as a pastor being
Yeah.
there.
but I don't. If I'm not mistaken, I think Anime has a paper where Grandpa was ordained at I can't remember what year it was.
Well, he just
This
preached
was-
there, or he didn't.
He wasn't.
He didn't have us as a church.
That was the church they attended, but I'm trying to think what Anime said that he was. She said she got a piece of paper where they had ordained him. Do you remember that,
Which
Grandpa?
Grandpa who?
James Webb.
Oh, James Webb, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you remember?
Well, I don't remember what year, but I know he was ordained. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was ordained, so he was a reverend back then.
He just attended the church.
Huh?
He just attended the church.
Well, he was a reverend in the church too.
Oh, I see.
Oh, yeah.
And
Reverend Webb, yeah.
yeah, he was a reverend at the church. When I think he became ordained at that church,
Yeah, I think so.
and then he became a reverend in the church. And I think I think Grandma was a deaconess at that time. My grandmother, Cora Webb. Cora Webb.
It might have been. I don't remember everything.
I remember Mrs. What's the lady's name? Miss Rhoda Dorsey being in that church.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
she-
yeah.
she was-
Oh,
yeah.
they,
And the lady, Mr. Sam Badup's wife, used to be in that church. The older, and Mrs. Hall,
Yeah.
the older ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mrs. Hedgeman.
How about Mrs. Kent? Do you remember her?
She was up in East Media.
No, she went to St. Paul. I know. Remember?
Oh, did she?
Yes, ma'am. Because I
Mrs.
remember
Kent.
Kent. Her name was Kent,
Oh,
and I remember
She lives on Jefferson Street now.
she used to live on Plum Street in Media, but she used to come there all the time. Because as a matter of fact, she used to take me and my brother there. I remember they had a pageant there or something, and the kids were walking
Okay,
around
was-
with floppy wings on.
Yeah, but see, I don't remember
Miss
that.
Pro- you remember Miss Kent, don't you?
I think so.
Did she go to that church too?
I don't remember Mrs. Kent there.
Yeah, I don't remember her, but
I know she went there.
Huh?
Yeah.
Was her husband a person who cleaned clothes?
He worked at a church in Media.
Oh.
He used to work in it. I remember they lived next door to us, and she used to come over to St. Paul's all the time. I think that she was a member there.
He's talking.
Huh? You don't remember? That's interesting.
No.
Oh, well, see, I'm talking about, let me see, when I was about 12 years old. We're talking about 1940.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you see, Miss Gladys was probably a member at that time, and I know she was a member at that time.
I
Because
remember.
well, you've been a member at St. Paul for what? 60 years or more.
Oh, my.
How long you been a
They
member
don't
of
keep
St.
records.
Paul?
They don't keep records in the
You know
church.
what? You know what?
Those two.
They're supposed to.
You-
We
Yeah.
have to talk
Because
about that later.
Yeah.
My
Well,
grandmother should have been a member of that church.
Yes,
Grandma
yes.
Louise.
yeah.
She was right next to the
Yeah,
web.
yes,
Yeah,
she was.
a member.
I can't tell you when because she died when
Yeah.
I was a baby.
And see, and
Okay.
in fact, Clinton had sent $1,000 to that church as a donation for his
Yeah.
in his mother's name.
What was this?
This was what, a few years
Yeah.
back. Do you remember that?
Yeah, Uncle Clinton.
When Clinton Williams sent $1,000 donation.
Well, I mean, I know his
A
mother.
few years
you know,
back. I've been to church since 1983. I never heard nobody giving no $1,000.
Yeah, he did.
Yes, he did. He sent it, and that and
Yeah, it wasn't wrong.
Only thing that I asked
Yeah.
a question about was the $1,500, or I thought that Mrs. The Sidney Page's family gave.
they did.
But I don't see it down on the finance thing. I thought they just gave it last
They
year.
did. They just gave it last
But they
year
told me
for this-
that was before. I said no, but I just left her alone because I don't want to really get into.
She gave
money.
it to her. It was gave to her. It was gave during when we were raising the money for what, that Unity Day.
Yeah.
That's what she gave it to Unity Day. She gave it to Unity Day. That was a donation from her side of the
Like,
family.
he's enjoying himself.
Yeah, so I mean that's now that's the thing with going back into the church.
Who?
Okay, going back to the church. We're just going back to the church. Like you belong to that St. Paul for umpteen years.
Years.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now what has been your experience from the time that you've joined up until now? Do you think that it's gotten better, or has it? It's not.
Well, it's not the same. It's not the same. It was nice when the older, way back
Years
there.
back.
It was different. It was different.
Okay, but now you think more so like when the back years ago, people were more in.
They come to church more.
Well, not only did they come to church more, but I'm thinking that a lot of things that St. Paul does today, back in the day,
they did
they
too.
kept better records.
Yeah.
I think they kept better records.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
I think everybody knew
Oh.
what their
Oh yeah. Everybody.
supposed to do.
Yeah.
if they were a deaconess or stewardess or missionary
Yes.
Yeah.
or whatever. I think that and they're not into that today
No.
like they were. The younger people don't. I don't think that they really read and know how you're supposed to work each section that you're in. Like
But
if you're
aren't-
a
isn't-
missionary or
don't the
something like that.
discipline tells us that? Or
Yeah.
is it not?
Yeah, it does, but I don't know if they.
I
even
have mine from
them.
Lima. So I don't have mine.
Yeah,
South
I don't
St.
think
Paul.
they have them.
And I asked for one, and I would buy one. I haven't got it yet. I don't know which way it went.
When you child,
Leave that go.
let's leave. We can leave that go. Well,
Everybody goes a different
but that's
direction.
like now.
Now remember, you're on camera now.
Oh,
Yeah, that's fine. I
Oh,
mean, look,
okay, thank
we're
you.
talking history.
thank you.
And she's been in St. Paul long enough to know that it's not the same.
I came in
It is not
'83.
the
I don't know
same.
when Mother was there when Mother was there for years.
I
because
know,
Yeah.
because
when I
she
used
was
to-
there when I was a kid.
When I used to come, Miss Ruth, Mother, and Cousin Lucy was always in the kitchen with the apron on.
Right.
And I made my mind
And
when I come there, I would not be in the kitchen with an apron on.
Wait a minute.
It upset me so bad.
Wait a
See,
minute. But they were some cooking people.
See them in the kitchen. Everybody was all
Miss
dressed
Hall?
with their hats and things.
Miss Hall would be
Yeah,
in
Miss
there.
Hall
like-
too, but I remember my
and-
mother.
Yeah.
Cousin Lucy and Miss
Well,
Ruth.
see, you would notice your mom was.
And I said, why is
yeah.
Mother? And she always would have a always white uniform, and never back in there
And
dressed
what-
with clothes. White
You know
uniform
what?
and apron, and go ahead.
That's because everybody wanted to eat her food. Everybody knew Miss Gladys was a cook.
Yeah.
A cook, a good cook.
I think the
So
church
when
is
they said,
different.
yeah, it
Since
is.
when I came in '83, I think it's very different.
Well, I don't
Very
think that those people are disciplined as they were years ago. You know what I mean? Like, everybody knew what they were supposed to do. Because, I mean, even for me, like, I noticed something the other day. All right, they had the missionary day, right? All right. So, they had the people and they cooked the breakfast and all that stuff. Now, when it was over, the food that they had left over, I guess somebody took it home. I don't know who, but anyway, somebody took it home. See, my thought would have been, use the missionaries. So what you do, you make up plates. Take one to the Miss Taylor across the street. Take one to Cutting Verner. Take one
To Betty
Charles. You take one to Honey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
These are missionaries, and this is what you're supposed to do.
But I
with
really,
leftover food.
I think we don't know what the role of a missionary is.
I don't
It's
think
not
they
only
do.
to put your hand out in every quarter to ask for money. It's
No,
to,
it's not.
when people are
It's to
sick,
help.
to know that they're sick,
Right.
to send a card to them or to call them, to visit them.
Yes.
These little children that run around the street, go to their parents and talk to their parents about their children.
Right.
But they do one thing. One thing they do, they sit in the church and put their hand out for the money to pay your dues. But they don't know what to do
What to
far
do,
as
right.
being a
They don't
missionary.
have the rules.
They don't know their place.
They don't know what
they're
they're
supposed to be
supposed to
doing.
I mean, because common sense would have told me, and I ain't even a missionary, that the food that they had left over should have went to
People in the
In the
neighborhood.
neighborhood.
Or anybody.
Fixed plates.
Anybody.
Yeah.
Fixed plates.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen. People just take the food.
Right. Instead of them, just there's Cutting Verner there. There's Miss Taylor.
And
that
she was
down
101
the
years
street.
old yesterday,
Yeah.
She
Sunday,
certainly
and I
was.
went in and I kissed her and I took a picture of her. And she's so cute.
Yes,
She said, I
she
got my
is.
dress on
That hair down.
backwards. I said, I didn't know it.
But I'm
She's
telling
something
you,
else.
I mean, these are and these are the group of people that
Yeah, honey.
I don't know
Yeah, honey.
exactly what that church is about now, but I know that the older ones that was in there for that any length of time, I know that you know the changes. You can see it. And the young people who think they know what they're doing don't really know. You know what I mean? And it's a shame because I don't know whether do you think it's because that they weren't taught? I mean, whose responsibility do you think that should have been? The preachers?
The parents, no.
Now,
Okay.
I think if we follow discipline, that's what we call it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
And if we don't know what's going on, every time you ask a question, you're really cut off. They never give you a direct answer about anything. The other day they were saying about the stewardesses and the trustees. Who are the stewardesses? Who are the trustees? How could the same people be on the same boards of everything and nobody else is on it? Like, you're on every board. You're the usher. You're the stewardess. You're the treasurer. You're the district. But nobody else is doing anything. I mean, why are you covering so many bases?
Right.
I don't think that's good.
Well,
That's very dangerous.
people don't want to be on.
No,
There's a
you
lot
can't
of
be on.
members in that church don't want to be on.
But you
this.
can't get on. And if you couldn't get on, they don't want you on anyway.
Yeah, well.
Because Jesse used to be doing everything. And all of a sudden someone said to Jesse one Sunday, oh, do you have a black suit? Jesse said, what? He said, Gladys, they want to know. I said, black suits? He got a whole lot of black suits. Guess what? They didn't want Jesse back there counting. They didn't want him to know nothing. That's why
Oh,
he
well,
said something.
they're
Jesse
like
don't want
that. They're like
Jesse
that.
don't want no commotion. So
Yeah.
Jesse said, I'm through with this. He didn't want to be back. He was back here counting the money and everything.
Mm.
So you got to know where everything's going because you never knew before.
Right.
I think it's very dangerous. I don't care what nobody says. It's something wrong with it. I don't care what nobody says.
It is. I mean, the financial report should be out more than it
And I
is
keep
out.
saying, if you ever get audited, and you say you get so much money to the church, and the church don't keep good records, well, how you going to get around that? You can sometimes churches get audited. You know that?
Yeah.
Surely.
Okay.
And they're supposed
So who's
to.
that responsibility fall on?
And your name is supposed. In fact, a lot of the churches send you at the end of the year how much you did put in case you do.
Yes.
All the
They
bad
should do
tax
it.
things.
They should do
Well,
it.
they don't do
Can you
that.
talk
They don't
from
make that.
Can you talk from a historical perspective and talk
Where's-
about how the church functions?
Oh, he's
Okay, I'm
he's
sorry.
taking
I
all
keep
that
forgetting that's
stuff
on.
over.
What's that?
I forgot that's on. I'm sorry.
What's mine, man?
Yeah, when we're talking about, what he was saying is how the church functioned in the time that you belong to it. In your time when Reverend Ricketts was the pastor and Reverend Gibbs was the assistant pastor, I think he was, how the church functioned then.
It did function.
Yeah, how did it function? As far as programs, did it have a lot of programs?
Well, it had the programs it's supposed to have.
Okay. And as far as the attendance, people, how many people came? Were there a lot of people?
We had a lot of people, but we had quite a few. South Media has never had a great big membership.
Right.
No, they have never, because you see, it's too many. It's called other churches and media, and everybody, you know, Baptist, Trinity, and Camel, and South Media,
Right.
and Reverend Barbers.
Right.
That's a lot of colored churches.
Right. In one little small town.
Yeah, that's right. All of them is in media.
And Reverend Barber came there about when?
Oh, he's
Later.
been there for
Been
years.
there later.
Yeah, but
Later.
but
There's only one Baptist church, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of Methodist churches.
yeah, well, that's it. It's a lot of Methodists.
Right.
Trinity, and Camel, South.
And I can remember when you used to have like your dinners at the church.
Oh yeah,
The dinners, the different pageants that you had.
yeah.
What else? And just about all South Media, I think, belong, especially the children. They had a good children's program. I mean,
Yeah.
It was a good Sunday school.
Yeah.
They
Good
had
Sunday
They had a
school.
good Sunday school.
Yeah.
One thing, when you was a child, you had to go to Sunday school.
Oh
Your
yeah,
parents made you go to Sunday school.
Right. So South Media always had a good
yeah. Sunday school.
Sunday school program.
Yeah.
And I also remember that they went on picnics.
Oh
yeah.
yes.
That was nice.
That was the
Yeah.
best part of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you know,
Yeah.
we did go on picnics. I
Yeah,
remember
it was a lot of picnics.
Yeah.
a
And,
lot of picnics.
but
And block parties to help children who couldn't.
Children,
Yeah.
right.
Wasn't able to, or
Yeah.
children who were going to help them so they wouldn't have to pay so
So
much.
that they wouldn't have to
Right.
pay so much.
That was
right.
nice.
And I remember that too.
Mhm.
But and then what else was there? I remember them having the pageants. I remember
Yeah.
them having the Tom Thumb weddings
Yes.
Uh-huh.
there. What else? There was a lot of things that they did back then
Yeah,
that
they don't do.
you know
that.
they don't do
Nice little
now.
Christmas party. You remember the Christmas party we used to have, and got the Easter eggs and jelly beans on
Yes.
during Easter?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. The Easter parties.
And you used to have
Remember
those little
Easter egg
Christmas
hunt?
recitals, you know, have
Yep.
the Savior pieces and the
Mhm.
Easter
Yep.
pieces.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was very nice.
The Easter pieces of it.
Children's
Yep.
Day.
Mhm.
They had a
Children's
lot of
Day.
things, but
Yes.
there's no children anymore, so
No.
quite naturally, there.
No.
Well, you know what I see, and that's another thing about. I don't know whether the churches are geared to children anymore, like they
Well, you have
were
to, that's
back
the
in my
future.
day.
That's the future of the
Why
church,
not?
the children.
Yeah, but I don't know whether they're geared to it or not.
They
Do you
are,
think-
but the parents have to send them.
Yeah.
That's on the parents. That ain't on the preacher.
Okay.
That's on the
You know,
parents.
That's
they
right.
have to.
Parents have to make sure that they get
That they
there.
get the well, we had to go.
Yeah.
Man, that was a
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah,
All of us had to go.
Mhm.
we had to go.
And
Yeah,
I
you
don't know whether that was because Grandpa was the reverend over there or what. I know we had to go.
And if you got sick Monday to Saturday.
That's
Sunday you
right,
going to
Sunday
church.
you going to church. I don't care what goes on. I was trying to think more like
And we had a junior choir. You're forgetting all about that. And Stanley was the head of it.
Oh,
Because we all belonged to that junior choir for years.
Yeah, the Cradle Rollers.
Yes.
The Cradle Rollers.
And I remember they had a singing group that Lovey and Donald Donnie
Zionist.
Selvin and Donald Dixon,
Yeah.
and all of them were in.
I
Charles
think that's what
Mason.
it was.
Yeah.
The Zionists
Yeah.
was Martin and them, and the Sons of Zion was
Mhm.
Donald Dixon.
Donald Dixon in there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they don't even remember
I
that.
think Iski.
Yeah,
he was
Iski
in
was
there.
in it.
Yeah, Lovey.
Daniel.
Yeah.
Iski,
Yeah.
Daniel, Lovey, Donnie
Donnie
Selvin.
Selvin. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look, who else was it? Stevie. Stevie.
Stevie.
Well, Stevie was in it.
Stevie
Right.
was,
Yes,
yeah.
he was. He was in it. Yes, Stevie was in it.
What's the matter?
I mean, but those were just things that the church was doing at that time, and that's been what over. Oh God, it's been 57 years ago. I think. How long ago do you think the church started changing?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, as far as South Media's church.
Yeah, I know you're talking about it, but well, when Reverend Gibb come in for the second time,
When
he come in for the second time. You know, Reverend Gibbs used to be, you know, he.
oh, that's right, Reverend Ricketts left, and right when Reverend Gibbs came in the second time.
Yeah.
I remember that because I was still
Yeah.
And when he came in the second time, then
Yeah.
the things started changing.
Yeah.
And I think he went from there to Lima, didn't he? Not Lima, Thornberry. Thornberry. And after him came who? Was it Norcom? Or who was that?
Well, Norcom was there.
No,
for
Norcom, he was
27
there.
years.
No, Norcom was there earlier than Reverend Gibbs.
Really?
Reverend Norcom?
No, he was there after.
Oh,
After. Because he was there around 27 or 28 years.
yeah, well, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
After Norcom came, who? Reverend Madison? No.
Yeah, Reverend Madison
Yeah,
was
Reverend
there after.
Madison.
Yes, he was there after Reverend
Yeah,
Norcom.
I think so.
And then right after, well, so it was Reverend Madison, and then after that was
Jenkins was
the Jenkins,
Was it Jenkins next?
Reverend Jenkins and her
Reverend-
husband,
And Reverend.
and then Reverend Bell.
Reverend Bell.
Well,
Oh, yeah, that's right, Reverend Bell was there. Yeah, Reverend Bell. Because we had two women.
Yeah,
preachers.
Jenkins and Bell.
Yeah,
Mhm.
there was two
Yeah.
women ministers there,
Yeah.
which was Reverend Jenkins and Reverend Bell. Before that was now I may mention another minister that was there.
Well, Mr. Hall, was he just filled in for us?
Mr. Hall became a minister. I remember when I had become some size, he was ordained a lot later than my grandfather. A lot later.
But he did preach there.
Yeah, he became a minister there. He was
I thought he
ordained
did,
there.
Mr. Hall.
But that was during whose time? Who was there then?
No, we were young then.
Yeah.
We were
I was
teenagers.
back there.
Yeah, we were teenagers. But
Was that after Reverend Ricketts?
maybe he came when
Yeah.
Reverend Gibbs was there.
Reverend.
Was.
Yeah.
Was
Reverend
Reverend
Gibbs.
Ricketts, Reverend Gibbs and Reverend Hall,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think they were. They were in there together. Then after that was no. Was there somebody in between there?
Well, Reverend Norcom was there a long time. He was there 27, 28 years. I don't
Yeah.
remember. I remember Reverend. I remember your grandfather, and I can remember Reverend
Reverend
Gibbs and
Ricketts.
Reverend Ricketts.
Right. And then
And I can remember. I wasn't there when Jenkins was there. Wasn't
so
there?
you know what?
Well, she wasn't there too long.
I came in with
I
Bell.
mean, she only
Yeah,
spent
that.
one term.
Yeah.
Reverend Jenkins, you
Yeah,
remember?
she was there one time. One term.
For one
One
term.
term.
Yeah.
Yes. And then after that came Reverend Bell. After
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
came Reverend Bell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with the two female reverends.
Yeah.
The two. How do you think they managed the church?
They were pretty good, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. Of course, a lot of people didn't like women pastors.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
they didn't like
So,
women pastors.
I mean, and they'll do that too. I mean,
Well,
so then after Reverend Bell came, who was next after? Who was
Reverend
after?
Bell?
Yeah.
New?
Who was after Reverend Bell?
Reverend
Reverend
Poe.
Oh, okay. Mhm.
Reverend Poe.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
Come from
yeah.
Atlanta, Georgia, right?
Okay.
We from Alabama.
He-
He's from
yeah.
Alabama.
He's from Alabama.
Yeah.
He lives in Washington.
Birmingham, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He lives in Silver Springs, Maryland, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's so then as far as you know, you've been under 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 preachers that your mom's been under.
Oh, I
I
can
think
do
it's-
that many, sure. I mean,
6 or more.
Probably more.
yeah,
6 or more that she can remember.
yeah.
Yep. Because I remember there was another preacher there that I know that you should have known who he was, but I can't even think of his name. But Edmay had said his name because he's a little short. She said he was a short man.
Really?
A little short man that preached down there.
Mhm.
And this was, I guess, before Reverend Ricketts.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah.
This was before Reverend Ricketts was there.
Oh. Huh.
Because she said that he used to come up to, you remember when they had the dances at the firehouse?
Yes.
So then he would come up and peep in the window
Oh,
at the kids dancing. And then one time he told the kids that all those people that were at the firehouse dancing to come out of the pulpit because they were singing. And that was Thelma and them's group. My
Okay.
sister Thelma and them.
All right.
And she said the whole group came out.
Okay.
The whole group came out of choir box. And I
Okay.
can't think of his name. I don't know whether, I can't remember it. But somehow I'll probably remember it.
They don't
later
keep
on.
They don't keep that either.
No, because they didn't even know how long they were. Well, we'll go from there. So now, so that meant you really been a member of St. Paul AME Zion for at least over 60 years.
oh, sure. Yeah,
So
yeah,
maybe close to 70.
yeah, right. Yeah, I
seven.
joined when it comes to
How old are you,
something.
Gladys?
70.
70?
Well,
So
listen,
she's been a member ever since she's been over here.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
over
yeah.
70 years you were a
Yeah.
member at St. Paul.
Oh, sure. 'Cause
Uh,
I
Did
was
you
going to
hold-
St. Paul when I was 14 years old.
you went to St. Paul when you was 14.
Yeah, that's when.
So
it
that
come-
means that was 80, what? No, 77 years ago.
Oh,
Because you're 91 now, right? Yeah,
Yes.
she's 91 now. So that makes, good gracious alive. Can you imagine? That's a long time. So that's-
Well, I wasn't a person that went to dances or nothing like that, and so I went to church.
Oh, okay. We went to dances in the church.
Yeah, I didn't get.
Nothing wrong with that.
You know,
No,
there's
there ain't
something I
nothing
don't hear.
wrong with it if you want to, but I wasn't a
You have to do
dancer.
something.
Oh, well, I wouldn't either. She'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Well, there's something I don't hear very much of, and I'd like to hear more about it. It's when I watch, that's okay. The elders in our churches had dignity that I don't see today. You know what I mean? They didn't have education, they didn't have fancy clothes, but they had something money couldn't buy. The
Oh
education
yeah,
couldn't
I
buy, right?
understand. Yeah.
And that's I don't hear anybody talk about that. Those are the things I want to hear about personally. I don't know whether I'm getting across.
What's the matter with our boy?
I like to hear about the older people, the way they carry themselves.
Yeah.
Because we had to sit on one side of the theater and media. We couldn't go to any restaurants here, but they never let their dignity be taken away from them. They never let that be taken away from them. And I don't hear much talk about that.
You know why? I think because most, I would think that most of the elderly people that were in media, their dignity was like built in. I mean, they didn't take it. They just took it for what they were. They were. You know what I mean? I don't think that they. Let me see. It's some people have a tendency to. I think most of the older people in media felt good about themselves. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what they did. They felt good about themselves because even their children felt good about themselves. I mean, it didn't make any. It's like a lot of the kids didn't even realize they were poor.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
They didn't.
Because the parents
Yeah.
didn't act like they were poor.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. I guess that's all
Well, I'd like to hear it from the older people. In other words, I don't think we have the right to speak through their, how will I say, through our mouths about their experiences.
Oh, okay.
We saw certain things, because I remember when I was a kid, you know, it was something that, there's Mr. Tom Jones. I was calling Mr. Tom Jones today because one day I called him Tom Jones. And you know what he said? I'm Mr. Tom Jones.
Yeah.
He made me respect him, even though the other people didn't respect him. He made me respect him, and in turn, I learned to respect myself. So. And a lot of things those older people did. I mean, it was beautiful, you know. And I don't hear enough of it, you know.
Well, you know what? Now you need to ask her something that you think might be relevant. Like,
What?
Basically, you know, well, there's certain things we learn with manners, you know. When a stranger came in the home, you always you brought them into your home, welcomed them in your home, and of course now when a lady came in the room, we stood up. Am I right? And also when I was a kid, I learned to tip my hat. Now that's old fashioned. Now the kids probably wouldn't want to do that.
What he's saying is about when you were. The way that the older people were raised, they were raised to be very respectful to their elders.
Oh yeah.
They were taught certain mannerisms.
Oh yeah. Oh sure.
And what he's saying is, what was your idea of what it was like back there? I mean, as far as the way you were raised, how you had to respect your elders, how you taught your kids to respect their elders. Is that what you're saying?
Basically, the whole deal. Okay, I have to be careful. My vocabulary gets crazy at times. But what went on around them, and enable them to survive in the environment where they lived, around all the bad situations that they had to experience. Yet at the same time, they maintained their dignity. I could always see the pride in the older people. I can see it now better than I could see it when I was a kid, you know. Like when a deacon came over and tapped me on my knee and told me to stop kicking. Of course, my legs were, I lost circulation in my legs, so I started kicking my legs so they wouldn't go to sleep on me. But at the same time, he wanted me to, be calm about the whole situation and not act like a fool, you know.
Well, you know, all right, now you were raised in Concorville, right? You were raised in Concorville.
Oh no. I mean, I lived in Concorville, but I didn't stay there.
But in the time that you were there, what was around you? Mostly black people, or was there black and white people?
Black and white.
Black and white people together.
Oh yeah. They mingled and they didn't put you down.
You know what? See, this is why I'm thinking that media is a lot different from a lot of other places.
Oh yeah.
Because of the fact that I don't think that alright, it's just like there's a question. Do you remember any slavery in your family?
No.
And see, you're 91.
Yeah.
And you don't remember slavery in your family.
No.
So, like hard times.
No.
Did you feel like you had hard times when you were
No,
young?
no,
No. How about during the Depression era,
we,
when the Depression came?
we lived all right.
It's because this is the way we've been used to living, period. So, I mean, that's the difference in where you were raised. You know what I mean? Like I never realized until I went down Merle and I see some migrant farmers, and they lived in tents and things. And that's when I knew what poor was. Do you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, this is what happens with a lot of the South media people. They never, their hard times was not, there wasn't no hard times. Not really, like hardships.
Oh, no.
Like, people shared food. If you didn't have money, you could always go in the neighborhood and get some. If you needed a loaf of bread or something like that, I mean.
But most parents baked bread then.
Yes,
My parents, my mother baked her bread, baked her donuts and her cinnamon buns and rolls.
And then there was the store that was right there.
That's what we got yeast cakes
We
for.
didn't go out. We didn't go out to the store like they do now.
No,
we had our milk delivered,
and that's another
our
thing.
milk was delivered to us, and we got our meats down from upstate someplace. They would come down to Huckster, would come down.
Right,
and
and
that's
then
how we did.
you could buy stuff on tick.
Yeah.
Remember Mooney store and them had a book?
Yes.
The World store had a book.
Yes.
So I mean, like.
Well, we lived on Wall Dirt, and George Wood was a rich man, and at Christmas time, you didn't get nothing for your children. He did everything, Christmas trees and everything. Because he was a really billionaire. He wasn't just, and he did everything for the people that lived on his farms. I don't care how many children you had, he took care of them.
Now you get that?
Yeah, he was away. He was a great man. Everybody loved him.
And is this the man that owns Wall right now?
Well, that's his, great, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's where you lived on his.
Oh yeah, we lived. When I was born in Cheney, and from Cheney I came down to Wall.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's where you lived at.
Yeah, because
So-
my mother lived until she died.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that meant you worked for, huh?
Yeah, can she talk about her mother?
How about your mother? He said, could you say something about your mother?
How she was? My mother was a lovely person.
No, I'm talking about like what age was she when she died, and how long?
82.
82.
Okay, and she had lived out there for how long
I was
before
away.
you were born?
When I was a little girl.
Okay, and she worked.
Well, she
Lived on that area, or did she work for that?
No, she didn't have to work for him. No. She took care of her children. You don't remember her working. You don't remember me saying she worked, do you, sister?
No, I don't remember grandmother working. Grandmother used to take in laundry.
Yeah.
And do laundry. Women back those days, people bring laundry.
Yeah, I remember Grandma did too.
Yeah.
Grandma did laundry too.
I can remember grandmother living at 497 Washington Avenue, and I can remember living at 609 Painter Street. And she died at 609 Painter Street, around 82 years old. Very stately lady. Very nice. But I can remember one thing back here when I was a little girl. Whatever they cooked, you ate. You never said you didn't like something.
That's right.
Right.
And when anybody came into the house to visit, you couldn't sit in the house with grown people, children. You had to go someplace in the other part of the house. They never talked around you.
No.
Right.
Never.
Right.
And when you sit down, you always sat down as a family. It was never restaurant cooking, a restaurant
Right.
style. You
Right.
had to
Right.
sit down then and eat. Oh, you didn't eat.
and say that grace. And say that grace.
And
Oh,
not only
yeah.
say the grace. Grandmother would us go in the room and get down and pray. She would pray, and I was thinking about the food.
Lord
My
have
knees
mercy.
was aching, and then we go back to the table and say a grace.
Grandpa,
Yeah.
you have to pray half an hour
Yes,
before you got
yes.
to the table. Then after
Very
you got to the
thankful. They
table.
were always thankful.
But you
Very
know,
thankful
and
people.
I'm wondering, is it because of the fact, like your mom, okay, that she lived out there, and that man that had all the money and stuff, he made sure that all the people in that, black or white,
Mm-hmm.
We're taken care of.
were taken
Oh,
care
yeah,
of.
yeah, yeah.
You know-
Color didn't mean nothing to
Right,
him
right,
there.
right. So
Yeah,
that was
he was a great person. But them there war wars now are making money off of people. You know how expensive it is. But there is.
And you know that house that sits by Lima Church, that house that right, that was my grandmother's home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was there.
Yeah.
When she first went into that place, they would have an outside bathroom. There was no electricity in that house, and there was a pump. A pump. You pump the water from the well.
In the church either.
No, it was a well. You
Yeah,
know,
pump the
well, you
water
had
from the
to.
well.
Yeah.
You took a bucket with on the string and brought the water out.
Outside.
And-
Yeah, and that house is still standing.
and that's still standing.
Oh yeah,
That's the one that's right across
Because it
the
was
right
all
across
cap.
from the church. Yeah.
right
It was a
across.
log
Isn't
cabin.
that something?
And
Yeah.
Vader Horace Wesley, who was in our family, he got the house and he just made it like a ranch. He just took it out, but he kept the original living room that is with the logs up in the ceiling. Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I bet it is.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. And then, naturally, his mother lived there, Marguerite Wesley, mother's sister, and they had the pigs, the chickens. You never went to the store and got eggs. You went down to the hen house and got the eggs. The whole
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
Oh yeah, your chickens lay there.
And they would have the pigs, and they would butcher the pigs, you know.
Now, where was this at? Right there?
At
in
the
Lima?
Lima, by the
At
church.
Lima
right
House
there.
up on the
Yeah.
hill before you come
And
down.
the house right down at the bottom.
Yeah.
That was
You know the house near the
Where
church.
Horace Wesley
Yes.
lived.
The house
that's what
near
I
the
was saying.
house near the church is
Yes.
still standing.
Isn't
The
that
hundred
something?
at the top of the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Mason lived over had this
Yeah.
old candy with the ants crawling on
Yeah, the two Masons, one Martha Mason
Martha,
and dear.
Miss
Yeah,
Martha.
yeah.
Nice
That's
old
what
lady.
That's what's
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And at Lima Church, when I went there, we used to go to Miss Marguerite's house to get the water
Yeah.
to take back to the church.
Church.
Yeah,
And,
you,
and they had the toilets outside.
They
Isn't
certainly
that
did.
something? So that was the Lima church.
yeah, I'm the church, that's right.
Yeah.
That was
See, I don't-
awesome.
Where his father was a minister.
Yeah.
I'm not saying.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Reverend.
Reverend Wright.
Reverend Wright.
Reverend
That was.
Wright.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
See, and that's something again.
Mhm.
And even like now, Jesse was there in South Media.
Who?
You went there. And what age were you? Did you
And,
go
and when my father, how they paid my father was either buy groceries, they get no money, or they're buying food. That was it. And then if he went out to, if he had an engagement at some other church, where he used to take up the money, they give it to him, he turned around and give the money back. That's what my father did.
Okay, so what kind of hardships did that create for your family, or did
No,
it didn't?
It didn't
He
create
did
nothing.
because he tried to help people.
And you know, see, this
See,
is
the-
the whole thing about
See, when you make money, like if the church makes money, why do you have to get other people to come there? Then when you get the money, then you got to turn the money to pay this person, and pay that person, and you wind out with nothing. You understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So what's the sense of, just like when they have breakfast or something like that, you buy the food and everything, then you turn around and buy the food back. So you ain't gaining nothing.
That's right. You probably lose more than what you gain.
Huh?
So
Yeah,
it's
right.
true. But you, see, I'm thinking about South Media. I guess media, basically.
Yeah. I mean,
Because most of these people, I'm still trying to find somebody that really had what they call hardships.
Well, we did. I mean, but at the same time, we didn't We didn't.
We didn't realize it.
Well, we didn't realize to a degree because I can remember the time my stepdad made pancakes out of water and flour, and then had to go borrow sugar from somebody else.
No, we didn't borrow.
And we had to borrow sugar. We didn't have any alternative.
We wouldn't
And,
borrow.
Well, we didn't borrow nothing.
I remember Mother and Daddy ever born.
Yeah, I can remember Mrs. Richardson's brother used to bring Frank Richardson, his brother-in-law used to bring food from us from Swarthmore College, drop off us out of
Okay.
our house.
Okay.
Yeah, because otherwise we wouldn't have survived.
Mhm.
I can tell you that much now. Yeah, because of course some of us haven't related, but I can remember the time my mom went to bed because we didn't have enough to eat, and she didn't want to eat anything to make sure we got enough to eat. You know?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so all of us didn't have it good. I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
complaining
Yeah.
because it taught us something. Just
Right,
the
right.
process, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think that what happens with a lot of, well, I don't know so much about the difference in the ages and things, but I think them white folks took care of most of us.
Yes.
Did
You know what I mean?
Did
The
they?
Rose Valley folks took care of most of us.
Oh,
You know, like the chickens and the, I mean, I remember Daddy bringing chicken home, so we had meat every night.
Well, I can remember my father. He used to work at the Sun Ship, and he also worked for Mr.
Yeah.
Pugh and Mr. Allen
Yeah.
down in Rose Valley.
Right.
Yeah.
And then my daddy died as a young man.
Right,
You know
I
that?
remember.
My mother had 7 children by him. But then later on, mother went to work for Mrs. Thatcher in Swarthmore. Miss Thatcher was good to my mother.
oh
Good
yeah.
to my mother.
Oh yeah.
Right, right.
And we didn't want for anything.
No.
One thing.
Mhm.
Christmas, she would just get everything.
And she was a Quaker, but
She was a
good-
Quaker.
Yeah.
Her 2 girls. She had 3 children.
3 good
2 of them are living now, and they still respect me.
Mhm.
She had three daughters, and
Daughters.
one died and 2's living. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. And
And you were like, I guess, a second mother to them, just like Miss Hunter was to the Marshall.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
I mean,
They were
Yeah.
good people.
They
too.
bought-
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Quaker.
And I think they were all Quakers too.
Dude, Quakers were good people.
Yeah,
They-
the Lambs were and with Daddy had worked and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, I remember him bringing chickens home. So we had meat every night.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, good. So I think because of the fact that most of the people in
Didn't have-
media work for those people that had so much money,
Right.
Yeah,
what I call old money,
yeah,
that they made sure that we were taken care of.
yeah, yeah.
I noticed the difference when we moved to media from South Media. It was another world completely. The hostility we ran into in the schools, and the first week we were up there I was walking across Baltimore Pike, and a kid walked over and asked me, did I know Howard Richardson? I said, no, I don't know. He picked up a big rock and threw at the white kid. And there was a black lady waiting for the bus, and she turned her head the other way. It's the first time I ever had an experience like that. You know, and so, of course, you know, in South Media, if somebody started something, we would go beside their head. But up there, I was by myself, you know. Then the school system was completely 180 degrees different
Yeah.
because the way the teachers acted towards us and everything, you know.
Yes.
And so it was a big difference when I moved from South Media to Media. It was like going from the frying pan into the fire.
Well, you know, I think that with a lot of times with another Department School District, it wasn't so much as they didn't give us nothing, or they didn't really, they didn't make us want to learn or feel like you had to graduate to do something or something, or they never let you know what your possibilities were.
Mhm.
But they never openly discriminated against us, and the only reason why that I can think that they didn't is because of the fact that they knew that most of those South Media people worked for them people, those Quakers and things. So they didn't want no hang-ups in there. You know what I mean? They didn't want no parent going to tell somebody they work for, oh, well, they didn't do this and did that. So they silently, they did it, they discriminated, but they didn't do it blatant. Now, media might have been more blatant.
The only place I thought was not nice to us was Garden City. I went
poor
to Garden
whites.
City, yeah.
And
They
that's,
were very
that,
bad.
that was one thing that we was just taught, that Garden City was poor
Yeah.
trash, poor white
Yeah,
trash.
and it still is.
And yeah, I mean that's,
Yeah.
and that's because of the,
Had
we
more
just-
trouble with Garden City than any place
yeah,
else.
because they were poor white
I
trash.
went to
That's what
South Media, Wynford, Garden City. Garden City was South Media, Wynford, Garden City, or Garden City and Wynford, and then
Yeah.
other province. That's how I went to down there. But the only place I found problems was Garden City.
because they were poor whites, and a lot of them were poorer than us. I mean, we probably didn't have this. We probably was. They probably was. I don't know, but because of the fact that most of those people in South Media were working for people with money and stuff, I think they knew the difference between old money people and Garden City people who had nothing. And we were taught to believe that they were worse than we were.
And we didn't realize we were poor anyway because
no.
number one, we just did not know that. We didn't have a television. We had a radio, Philco radio. We had a cold stove. Okay,
And
we had to go to bed at night. I don't know what time of night it was, winter, summer, what. You went to bed at a certain time of night. I don't care how hot or how cold. We didn't have air conditioning. We had screens in the window,
Right.
and we went to bed. We went up all half the night like a lot of children were running up and down the street.
I remember we
You
had
went out, you
lamp
went out on
lights.
your own.
Yeah,
right.
lamp.
And we had to
Put oil in the.
oil and
Yes.
get down, go down the store and get the wicks.
Yes,
Put in
yes,
them,
and
and
there they are.
There's
they
one.
had to cut
There's
them.
one.
Yeah,
I want to know about it.
yeah. When you get
Yes,
them up,
indeed.
then you cut them.
Yes,
When they get to a certain
Yes.
spot, you had to cut them
I
off.
got a lot of them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then
Lot.
washing them.
Yeah.
Remember washing them
Yeah.
chickens?
Yes.
Washing the
Yeah,
gloves.
making them,
Yeah.
and you put newspaper in them to make sure
Yes.
that they
Yeah,
soot got out of them
That's
or
what you
whatever.
had.
And
They
you
were
know
the
what?
good
It's
old
a wonder more houses wasn't burn up than
True.
I mean, but they didn't.
But that
No.
didn't happen.
Well,
Yeah.
now you got all this electric and stuff, and that you have more forest
More
than there.
forest.
Yeah, than you did with the lamp lights, and you were going up and down steps with that.
I
lamp.
really think we were in the good days and didn't realize
Didn't
we were in
even
the
know
good
it,
days. Now
right.
it's terrible out here now. It's terrible. Terrible.
Yeah.
I'm
Hey,
gonna tell you.
and you know another thing I think too, like with you, all right, with your 7 kids, it wasn't. You didn't have that need to buy all 7 something at the same time.
No.
You know what I mean? You bought as they needed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's another thing that the older people did that younger people have a tendency not to do. It's like they think that, oh, if I don't buy this one, that one, and buy this one the same thing or something, they think that I'm gonna like one better than the other or something like
We
that.
didn't feel that.
We're right, we weren't taught that.
No.
We were taught you got
Whatever.
as you
No.
needed.
Yeah.
I can
That
remember
is
having
unique.
a little corduroy jumper and a blouse when I went down to South Media School, and some old white and blue saddle shoes. I think you
Yeah.
never wore sneaks.
No, no.
Because sneaks, they always said, made your feet stink.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And if you had sneaks on, you only had them for jib. And I remember had a sunny pair of shoes, and I often wondered why the closets were so little. The closets were so small. Look, we didn't have any clothes anyway.
That's right.
We didn't have many clothes. We had just what we needed.
Right.
Really?
Mhm.
And we were happy because we didn't know any different.
Right.
And well, you know what? But
And
by
we
the
were all
same,
the same.
And
Right,
I can
we
remember
were all
going
the
to,
same,
I
so
can
that's-
remember going to media to the movies. You go in, they would usher you on the right hand side,
Right.
down this way.
And the
Yes.
whites on the left.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was wrong, but guess what? And I remember how we
Didn't
couldn't even
bother.
get into the townhouse, the
Right.
arcaded
Yeah,
diner.
that's
They
the
didn't
diner,
allow
the
you went to the
Arcadia.
back door to get
Yes.
wages.
yes,
Look.
the
And now
arcade.
they'll welcome you with
Yeah.
open arms.
Open arms.
You know what I'm
One
talking about?
time in media, no blacks were allowed in the restaurants on State Street.
No,
None.
none.
I know
Especially
from
Even the-
experience.
Yes,
And I
Arcadia.
used to work in the townhouse. When you ate in the kitchen.
That's
But
right.
not go out in that dining room and eat.
Me in
We
too.
wouldn't get in.
Okay. Now, so I'll remember. Where were your mother and father born? Where were they? Where did they originate from? Where did they come from? Your mother and your father.
My mother come from Delaware.
Delaware. And your father.
Pennsylvania.
Okay. Do you remember what part of Delaware and what part of Pennsylvania?
No, I don't remember.
Okay. So, but we got the time that you really was up in Concordville.
Oh, no, that my mother didn't live in Concordville. I lived in Concordville with my aunt.
Okay.
My mother and father didn't live in Concordville.
Okay, where did they live at?
They were living in, Darlington, I think. I don't know, Wawa, that, I don't,
They were living in Wawa?
yeah, I think so. I just can't remember all that. That's a way.
But you live with your aunt.
Yeah,
You remember that part anyway.
yeah.
And then you
And
lived there until you moved to Media.
no, Wawa. I moved to Wawa after I lived in Concord.
Oh, okay. So how old were you when you got married?
How old was I? Why do you want to know that?
Well, just to document it. Were you 19, 16,
Oh no,
17?
I was old enough to get married. I was.
Yeah, well, see, back in them days, what was the age limit?
There
Most
wasn't-
people got married at what age back?
I
back
don't
then?
know. They got married when they wasn't. There wasn't no age limit.
You say a lot of them were married at 14 or 15, right?
Were they? I don't know. No.
Could have been.
I mean, that was a normal for most, even
wasn't? Oh,
between
well.
white and blacks, really.
No.
Because they figure you was a woman by the time you were what, like 14?
Uh.
I think so. They did.
Oh.
Well, and now look, I'm trying to tell you your history, so you tell me. So you say you don't remember. That's the end of that. Huh? Huh? Oh yeah, where did you go to school at?
Media.
Media?
Concord School.
The Concord School?
Concord School was the first school still standing.
Oh, okay.
That was the first school I went to. Then I went to Darlington School, Lima School, and Media.
So what was your highest grade you completed?
Oh, Lord. I don't remember.
Okay. Well, you did all right, whatever you completed with. What else? When you come out of media school, by that time you had got married? You got married right after school?
Not right after, but I mean, I married after. I didn't go to no more schools.
Okay. And then you had 7 children.
No,
Well, this first 7.
Yeah.
And then you remarried after your husband died. And how many did you have then?
That's it. 7 more.
7 more. So that means you had a total of
14 children.
Oh, Lord have mercy. That was you good, honey. I think well most, and that's something that most
Most of our children was
most
born
of the
home.
children. Well, yeah.
Huh?
Were most of your children born home, or
Oh, yeah, all my children were born home but one. Last child I had was born in the hospital. All my children were born at home.
Yeah,
Oh,
doctor
okay.
or midwife?
Huh?
Doctor or midwife?
No, a midwife.
Okay.
I mean, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I had the old doctors come in and, check you out, but I had a midwife.
I think that back in them days, wasn't that majority of? I mean,
Yeah,
that was it.
yeah.
And do you remember who your midwife was?
Oh, Lord.
Was she from media?
Well, no, I mean, my mother, my grandmother would be around.
Oh, that kind. Yeah.
Wasn't no outside family.
Isn't that funny? Because I think most of the older people They're either their mothers or
Yeah.
they always born their children.
Mm-hmm.
They always born. Yeah. Huh?
I was born at home.
I was too.
You was
Yeah. I was born at home.
what? Yeah.
I was.
My doctor, though.
But I think grandma was my
My mother had her
mother.
children home, but then after she had it, the doctor came in. 'Cause I
They-
remember that.
yeah, the doctors always
42
came.
people. They
Yeah.
came
Oh,
after,
yeah.
but she had the baby. Mother, we would see mother at night, and we got up the next morning, a little baby in the house. We didn't even know. I said, "Mother, where does baby come from?"
Oh, yeah.
She didn't make any noise or anything because the house was small, 442 Leaper Street.
Right,
We
right.
had the 4 bedrooms, you know, with the 2 bedrooms with the 3rd floor with this
Yeah.
room between it. So mother would have a baby there.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
And so there was 14 kids raised in that house.
Yes.
Yeah.
7 first, and quite naturally, my
Yes,
father died.
right, right.
Mother married later, and she had 7 more.
Right,
But she
right.
only had 1 child in the hospital, and everybody else she had at home.
At home.
Yes.
And I think that was the norm for most people
You didn't go to the,
at that time.
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, you didn't go to
and
hospital.
then
right?
most people had large families, like because Miss Mimi Pierce, she had
Right.
17.
She had 16. 16.
Whatever, and she was mother's neighbor.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And Miss Mason, them, they
Yeah,
had
Miss
what?
Mason,
We
everybody
had
had large
14.
families.
The Masons had 9, wasn't it? You mean
I-
Martha?
No, she had
Yeah.
12. I think she
Did
had
she?
12. Is that
Yeah,
Did she
I
really?
think, if I'm not
I thought it was
mistaken.
9.
12?
Okay.
I think it was
okay.
12.
Yeah.
Yeah. We considered a small family 5 kids.
Oh,
I
that's it.
had 5.
Yeah, that was a small family back in
Yeah.
them days.
Well, that was nice. There was nothing wrong with it.
Right, right. Well, the times were different. I mean,
Yeah.
it didn't take as much to even raise them, as, you know, to feed them and stuff. Because, like you say, you did a lot of young cooking, the bacon, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and they used to put preserves up too. See, the women back there, they would have preserves and, you know, they put they canned foods and stuff. Women don't do that nowadays.
They
Yeah.
did.
They made their own soaps. I can
Right.
remember grandmother making her soap.
Mhm.
That's right. You don't find people do anything like that now.
And that wasn't even considered a hardship.
No, it wasn't a hardship.
That was something that
That's a
you
normal thing for them to do back there.
did. Making the soup and washing with the washboard.
Yes.
Yeah.
for-
Oh,
With
yeah.
all
I
them
bet
kids.
that.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
I was.
And you
and
would
Miss
soak
Gladys, I know you can remember washing a whole lot on
Oh,
there.
And you would
Yeah.
soak your clothes, you know, and then put that old bluing in the water
Yes.
and make the clothes come out so pretty.
Pretty,
And you
yeah.
hung them out.
Did you work
Drying.
at that time too?
No.
You didn't work at that time. You didn't start to work for anybody until most
Yeah,
of your
my
kids
father
were up
died.
there.
Yeah.
My daddy died. After
Yeah.
my father died, mother started working for Mrs. Thatcher.
Okay. So
Yeah.
and when you started working, about what age were you then?
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember what
I was
age.
12 and a half years old when my father died.
Huh?
I was 12 and a half years old when
Wow.
my daddy died.
So she started working what, maybe when you were about 13?
No, she said she was 12 and a half.
I was 12 and a half when daddy died, and she
Nice.
started working later after my father died.
Oh, yeah.
So it was after my father passed that mother started working. She didn't work before.
That's right.
She had to live within my father's income.
Right.
Because he worked at Sunship, Mr. Pugh, and Mr. Allen. He held 3 jobs down. He
Right,
died
right.
at 40 years old.
Yeah, that's like
That's
Daddy.
Zebra Hemorrhage.
Daddy worked for Pew too for a while, and for them. But so I'm figuring, if you take yourself at 15, when your mom started working for,
I just know it was after my father passed that she worked, and I was 12 and a half. I don't want to put a time on because I'm always saying I was 12 and a half when Daddy died, okay? And Mother started working after, I don't know if it was 1, 2, 3 years, but she started working for Mrs. Thatcher after that. Now I can't put, you know, exact
And I worked there 20 years.
and she worked there 20 years.
Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm.
Miss Thatcher was a, you know, I told you, Quaker.
Quaker, she was wonderful.
Very good person.
Very
good.
good.
person.
You
So
didn't
when
have
you
to
start-
run for nothing.
How old were you when you stopped working for her then?
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember, but I stopped working for her. But I did work. I did go and I worked for Sue, didn't I? A little
Yeah,
while.
but you worked for Miss Thatcher
Yeah.
the longest period of time.
Yeah.
Sue was her daughter, used to help her out. You know, because they always were very close to Mother. My
Yeah,
pastor's daughters, Joan, Sue, and Barbara. She had 3 daughters.
yeah. She had 3 daughters, yeah. Barbara, Sue, and Joan. 2 of them living now, but one day.
Well, you figure if you worked for her about 20 years or so, you might have been, if you started even when you were 40, that would have made you 60.
No, I wasn't working when I was 60s with those sisters.
I cannot remember
I
that.
can't
and
remember.
I just,
But you just know you worked
Yeah,
for 20 years.
You worked
anyway.
for 20 years.
Mm-hmm. Worked for her for 20 years, yeah.
And she had 3 girls.
Yeah, she had 3 girls. 2 of them are living now, one dead. And that one that, you know, she still remembers me even that I worked for her when she was little. She still remembers. She's very nice, Sue.
So that was like you were part of that family.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Barbara had a place in Avalon. She passed. And we used to go down and visit. We have pictures of Mother and I all down in Avalon, you know, having lunch and with them and whatever else we did, we was there. And then Sue, they got herself a place up here in near West Grove, where you go for like assisted living. She's there, and Jody, she's out in.
June died, sister.
No, Barbara died.
Oh, Barbara died, that's
I
right.
think she's out in Michigan. I think Joni is the oldest daughter. But they keep in contact. We usually go there for dinner, lunch. We get cards.
Like
from
a family
them.
reunion.
You know, they're very nice, very close.
Very nice.
Mhm. Very
And that's experience mostly with the white people that
Yeah.
that were in this section. Where did they live at?
21 College Avenue in
And Swarthmore.
They were in Swarthmore.
Mhm.
Yeah, they lived in Swarthmore.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's most of the contact. Remember that was one of the questions you were asking about what experience you had with white people.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So,
Sure. They're answering most of that, yeah.
Yeah. So that it's kind of for out here. It's a little different than a lot of different places.
Yeah.
I work for good white people.
Yeah.
That's why I have this home. I work for a lady in, her name Mrs. Robichaud, and I told her I had 5 children and I wanted a home. I don't want to rent. Then I was young. And she said to me, you pick the home out you want and we'll pay your down payment. And so I said, you know, years ago, you know, interest rates were low, right? So what happened, I went to 3 houses, one in South Media and 2 here, and this is the one we got. And we only paid $3,000 down for this home.
And that's
And back there in '60, that was a lot of money,
right.
you know, a lot of money. So I said, Mrs. Robichaud, I don't want you to give me anything because I do work here. And I felt that she paid me very well. I got paid every week. And she paid me $125 a week. So I said, just let me, you take so much money out of my pay till I pay you back. And she said, I said, that's what I want to do. Because I want to feel good about what I was doing. Because I wouldn't realize it because she's taking it out of my pay before I got it. And I went on and she gave me the thing that I paid her off. It took a while, but I paid her off and I felt better.
Right.
Because see, my mortgage wasn't high. My mortgage was only $72.45 a month. Can you believe that? This house only cost $10,950.
Right.
This house right here.
But see, that's the difference too with. Now, where was she from?
She must have been from the South. But Robichaud, that's like, is that a German Jew in there? Is that
Sounds like
Robichaud?
Robichaud.
It sounds like it. But they were good people.
Where did they live
She
at?
was a journalist. Well, I met her in Swarthmore next door to Mrs. Thatcher's. She rented a house there, and later she bought a house out in Fisher's, 521 Fisher's Road in Bryn Mawr. Her husband was a professor, and she was a journalist. She
Okay.
had 3 children, John, Janny, and Chris. And I worked for her for almost 8.5 years. So when she left to go to Atlanta, Georgia, she wanted us to uproot ourselves and go. I told her I didn't want to go south.
Right.
And she begged me to come, but I told her no. But she keeps in contact with me and sends me cards, money, and everything. Just like And I was part of her family, so I always worked for good people.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is to work for people that wasn't good to you.
Yeah.
Then I later went to Delaware County
Yeah.
Hospital after that.
Right. But see, and that's the difference. That, like I said, it's
Yeah.
old money and new money, and then you find a lot of the Quakers back. They made sure they treated us well.
Well, she treated us.
Yeah.
She treated me very well.
Yeah.
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 Because I used to do her dinner parties and everything. And whatever they had for dinner, we had too. It wasn't like leftovers. She would buy for us too.
Right.
Because Mother would help me to serve, and Miss Lucia LeBou would help me to serve, and Mr. Guy, Miss Anna Guy's husband,
Right.
would be my bartender. Because they walked around with the drinks.
Right.
Or Noah Thompson from Morton, but he passed.
Right,
He would
right.
help. And cooked the whole meal, and you served everything. You came in. You didn't put everything on the table. You came in courses and served. Good people. You don't even find people like that nowadays. And just like I said, you didn't know what it was before because I didn't know what it was before. I thought we were rich.
Right,
I
right. I
always
think
thought
most
you
of
were.
us didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't know, but I did know we didn't have a lot of clothes, and that's why I said I don't know. I know now why we didn't have big closets because we didn't have a lot of clothes. But what we had, we washed up. We didn't have a lot of laundry like people did. You wash your clothes, and you had your Sunday clothes, like you had your Sunday shoes, your Sunday dress. You took them off. You didn't be running up and down the street with your clothes on. They didn't allow that.
You felt dressed up too, did you, when you got dressed up?
And I felt like I was dressed up.
Yeah.
I really did.
But you know what? And that's just like back in your day. Do you remember not being able to sit in the living room?
We didn't sit in our living room.
Right.
Do you remember that? Not letting your kids sit in the living room?
Oh, yeah.
They could not sit in the parlor,
Right,
as they
right.
called it.
They called the power.
Yeah.
You didn't tear that place up.
You
Tear the restaurant
definitely
up,
could not
not
sit
that.
in the parlor.
And just like I said at the time, but I don't know if it was on tape, but we were allowed to be in the room if my mother and daddy had visitors in.
Right,
We
right.
had to go someplace else in the house. We couldn't be in a conversation.
We're grown up.
What
They
they say,
never
children,
allowed that.
children should be seen and not heard.
And not heard.
And you didn't get mad because you knew what was going to happen. But they didn't play with you. They tell you go out back and get them switches, and you better bring them in, and they would clap.
And you
they
better
beat
bring
you.
one in
They
that
beat your
was-
nose.
See, they
beat
put them
your
in
neck.
jail now. They'd be right up there in the lockup now.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, listen, I think it was a good thing. It didn't kill me. I'm here.
Right, right.
It
I think it's
earned you something.
child free.
Mhm.
And the mannerism.
Yeah.
The older people, it's like back in the day, it was like if another parent come and told you something that your child did, you'd automatically go to your child and correct them. And it was almost like, okay, you disrespected so and so. You were not allowed to disrespect anybody that was, and you had to call everybody miss.
Well, then again,
That
I
was
can
a
remember too, you didn't always have babysitters. Your neighbor could be your
Your
babysitter.
babysitter.
Right.
You didn't pay all this big money out to people. Like, I remember Mrs. The lady in South Media, who was her name?
Still.
Miss Dill. She had a babysitting place where you could bring care of her children. You would take her children, check the children there. She would have pampers for you, baby food for you. She would walk them. But nowadays, people want so much money to babysit. And
I remember I babysitted for you.
did you really?
What the boys, yeah. At your mom's house, you had a piano in the living room. I must have been like 14.
I'm thinking, because I can't
Yeah,
remember that.
I was like 14 because you had a piano in the living room, and because somebody was trying to learn how to play the piano. On the
Okay.
thing. And the piano was facing up that way. But I think it was, what's the oldest ones? What's the
Only
oldest
one Mary is my oldest daughter. Gladys is my second. Susan's my next. And there's Michael and Sylvia.
Okay, so it must have been the two girls. The 2 or
Okay.
3 girls. Yeah,
You can remember? I can't remember
I
that.
babysat it. Yep. I was still, it was in the summertime. It was in the summertime because we were out of school and I was 14.
Was it?
And I
Was
don't
it
know who
mine?
it
What you think was in Kitty's house, Kathleen? By the
No,
farmhouse?
it was at your house.
442.
Yep, Lipa.
See, I don't remember Hannah in that house. See, and I'm trying to think.
Mm-hmm. there was a piano facing up against the
It could have been. Hey, it could have been
this way.
Yeah, excuse me, I keep remembering her name, Becky. Was there Becky there?
Yeah, Becky Robertson.
Is that was her
Yeah,
name?
Becky Robertson.
Yeah, I remember she used to be real
Roberts.
mean. Real mean to me on the bus.
Her mother. What was Miss Charlotte's last name? Roberts.
Who?
Oh yeah.
Robert, Charlotte
Was she on the bus?
Yes.
Is that right?
Roberts.
Yeah, Roberts.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember
Miss Charlotte
Becky.
lived next to you?
Huh?
Miss Charlotte lived next to you?
Eli.
Ain't lying,
Oh, yeah.
lying
Okay.
mother.
And then Miss Charlotte came to live with Eli later on in life.
Oh,
But
okay.
she
That's,
should live with Mrs. Taylor's, in Miss Taylor's house. You remember her and Becky? Her daughter Becky?
I don't remember them.
Well, Becky did live there with her mother, and Becky died. And then later on, Miss Charlotte came to live with Aunt Li on 444 Leaper Street.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because
But as I was saying, when we
Remember that.
were young and used to go to media to the movie, I remember being ushered in down to the front and sitting on the right hand side. And at the time, I can remember in media, as I was saying before, I don't know if it went on tape, you could never go into any of those restaurants.
Right.
Yeah, come on,
Arcadia
yes, yes.
or the Townhouse.
You can work in it now.
They would not
Yeah.
ever serve you. You would have to
Right.
go, if you went to the Townhouse, you would have to go to the back door. This is the truth. And this had not been very long ago.
Mhm, right.
Please believe me. Because I remember Arcadia Restaurant, Mrs. Pettyjohn worked up
I
there.
remember
Yeah,
that.
so did
Yes.
Evie.
Mm,
But
you
you
remember
couldn't,
that?
up there
you
with
couldn't
it.
go in there.
Oh, did you really?
No, Evie did.
Oh, Evie? Okay. Oh, yeah.
We had one restaurant, the Virginia restaurant, right?
Yeah, well, that was our colored restaurant.
Right,
on
right,
on,
right.
on
Mhm.
Orange
But they never
Street.
had no food.
The
when you-
Smith.
Then there was Rice's. There was a white restaurant, Rice's.
Rice, there was a
Yeah,
Rice's,
right,
and there was
yeah.
Mr. What's that? The other man's name you worked for?
Jim the Greek.
Jim DeGree.
Jimmy
Jim
Green. Oh
the
yeah.
Yeah.
And Stillwell was right
Right.
two
Across the
doors
street.
from.
Right.
Yeah.
And on the corner was a drugstore.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Where the Greyhound bus used to come in on Baltimore Pike
Right.
and pick people up and take them on down the road.
Right.
You remember that?
Oh yeah.
You remember that?
I'll tell you what I do remember about that drugstore. The night Pearl Harbor, I went to the drugstore. I don't know what I went to pick up, but he was saying we're going to lick the Japs just like that. And next thing I know, Gabriel Heater is telling us 5,000 men were getting killed on Iwo Jima. You remember Gabriel Heater?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, when you heard him, he,
Yeah, I remember him.
yeah, he
Yeah,
I
did.
remember getting on the air.
Yeah, one lady told me her father committed suicide because of Gabriel Heater. He made his news was so bad, you know. Yeah, Gabriel Heater. And who was the other one? Bo Carter. You remember him? Bo
Yeah,
Carter.
sure, that's sure.
John Facenda. We used to call him John.
You're talking about Bo
Facenda.
Carter, the black Bo Carter, Mr. Carter's son. Or you talking about?
No,
Bo
no, I'm
Carter
talking about
on
Bo
the
Carter was a
television?
radio
Oh, no, no, I
announcer.
don't
Radio
remember him.
announcer.
I don't
This is
remember
back in the
him.
back
I
in the
don't remember
30s.
him.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
We were born. I
And
was
John
born
Facenda, we all
I
remember
remember
him.
John
John
Facenda.
Facenda, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we remember John. Don't start.
And
don't
there
start.
were two guys. I can't think of the name. Well, I remember him one day. He laid somebody out because they asked him to play "Somebody's Got to Go." Clean. What was it? Eddie Vincent sang "Somebody's Got to Go" with Count Basie.
Oh,
And
my.
I can't think of the name of that. As a matter of fact, the man's still alive. He lives out in Westchester somewhere. He said, "This is the kind of garbage people want me to play." And I can't think. Art Douglas, Doug Arthur. Doug Arthur. It was a Doug Arthur and Art Douglas.
He dug off there.
Yeah, right. I think it was Doug Arthur who said that. And he said he was angry because they asked him to play that particular song. That was interesting because you take it over, take it away, Rosedale. Who said that? Who said take it away, Dave Rosedale? I'm trying to remember now. Was that the old Opera House or something?
See, I don't even remember.
Yeah, well,
remember that.
okay. Well, you remember the Johnson family, don't you?
Yeah.
From Chickazola. There's one man who used to play the part of all of these people.
Yeah, on the television.
Jimmy.
On radio.
No, radio.
Radio, yeah,
Jimmy.
radio.
Jimmy
Helen
Scribner.
Trent. We had Helen
Right.
Trent.
Oh, I remember
Lone
Helen Trent.
Ranger.
Yeah.
Bill McGee, Molly.
Mm-hmm.
And
The Shadow.
The Shadow.
Yeah.
We didn't have too many things, but we had that old Field Code radio.
They used to have,
You know what?
a thing in South Mead named The Shadow.
Oh yeah, the newspaper. Oh man,
that paper
talk about
somebody
that.
hurt.
Did they blow that up? Did they blow the place up?
That paper. Yeah. But Miss Gladys, now, when you lived out there in
Concord.
Concordville, what entertainment did you have?
What do you mean entertainment?
Like, did they have radios? I know you didn't television, but did they have radios out there? Did you listen to the radio?
I imagine they did. I just can't remember because that's the first. I was about 6 years old.
I was wondering what kind of entertainment they had.
Yeah, well,
Did you have like little parties in the yard, or
no,
like
we
all the
didn't have
neighbors?
parties. No, we didn't have any parties because there wasn't many children out near where I was.
okay?
I was kind of near the business part of Concord.
So most of your entertainment was church.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think that would happen to a lot of the older people. Most
Yeah.
of their entertainment, their functions was church. So that's where they got by at. Most of the
Yeah.
time. That's where you met all your neighbors and other neighbors.
Yeah.
And they had them little social things at the church.
Yeah.
So that, I guess maybe that's what might have kept a lot of the black folks together.
Mhm.
You know, more family oriented
Yeah.
than they do now, because our functions are everywhere but church.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
where
And,
back in the day.
years ago, most of them had to walk so far to go to church.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they didn't mind that. They didn't have the
No.
transportation that they have
Oh,
today.
you
no,
walk in
they
church.
had horse and
They
buggy.
walked.
Horse and buggies.
Yes.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
church.
Did you ride the horse and buggies? Have you-
Yeah, yeah.
That was your mode of transportation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When I was little,
You
yeah.
go to sleep and the horse will take you home, right?
Yeah,
Take you with your car. They'll take you home, but not the home you want to go to.
yeah.
Okay. So most of your transportation was done by the horse and buggy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We didn't have no cars.
Okay. And that's where you went to church by the horse
Yeah,
and buggies.
yeah.
Did a lot of did you have your own horse and buggy, or
No, yeah. My aunt had it.
okay?
Yeah, she had her own horse. So yeah, Dilly.
Did
Yeah.
most of the black people up there have their own horse?
Oh,
and
they had
buggies?
their own. They had their own horse.
They had
and
their
buggy.
own.
They didn't have
their
to.
own transportation.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's so. And I know your iron was flat irons. And what kind of stove did you have? The coal or the wood?
Yeah, we had the the
coal box.
Yeah. Mhm.
Kalamazoo.
Yeah.
Was it Kalamazoo?
Huh?
Well, I know they had one named Kalamazoo. That's
What's
one we
that?
had. That was the stove we had, Kalamazoo.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
I don't know
Kalamazoo.
what the name was, but
Yeah.
I know they
Which
that.
you know was a coal stove.
Oh, it was a coal stove. Yeah, you wood. You could make coal fire.
Yeah.
Mine did.
And it was black too. And you could bake all your food and everything in it.
Yes.
Then they had the little stove
Yeah.
that you put chunks of wood in.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
I forget what they call them.
And them orange that you clip together and orange. Oh, please.
Their biscuits were good then when they came out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Different taste altogether.
Now, that's something else again. The older people, their hair. Did they straighten their hair back years ago?
No. No. Most of them had good hair.
So most of them just brushed their hair back.
Yeah.
I think that's why they were so long. Most of the back in the day, most of the black women had long hair
Yes.
and thick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did. So they didn't have the straightening combs and stuff like we have today. And how about makeup?
They didn't do wear makeup. You know, they didn't paint themselves up.
Okay, was painting yourself, was that considered like?
They just didn't do it. I don't know what
Okay.
That wasn't allowed in the church either.
Hmm?
Was it? It wasn't allowed in the church anyway.
Oh,
To
wasn't
make
it?
all that.
I don't think you could go there all made up.
No.
Okay.
Oh, they call you
No, not
Jezebel,
at all.
right?
Lips all red.
Red and, yeah,
Oh, you
it
Jezebel.
wasn't allowed.
Dressing up around your wherever.
Yeah.
Discipline. Discipline.
Yeah, well, and then back in the day, you couldn't wear no pants and stuff to church.
Oh, no.
No, women didn't wear it.
Women didn't wear
No,
pants.
didn't wear pants.
No.
They didn't.
Mother won't
They
put
didn't.
them on now.
No.
That's what she'll wear them. She won't wear pants.
Yeah,
So she never wore pants.
I remember,
mother
like
had
even Miss Morgan and like, if they have on a dress, it got to cover them knees.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
sat
that's
down.
right.
That's
Yes,
the
that's
first
right.
thing.
Yeah,
It's
knee-
got to cover these knees.
Yeah,
So,
When they came out with kulaks, you remember when they came out with kulaks?
and they left him.
Um,
They left him. You wanted.
I think at certain ages, I think it might have been more. I don't know what the age limit was when they started wearing the kulaks, but I know the older black women did not wear them.
No.
They always just wore dresses.
Yeah.
Kulaks look like dresses though in a way.
They used to, well, you know what they used to call
What do you
them?
mean
They were like
listen,
split
Jackie?
pants.
Yeah,
and
right.
to ride the horses.
Right. Well, they used to ride side saddle in the
Yeah.
old days. They ride.
Oh yeah, ride the.
Did you ride the horse?
Oh no, I didn't ride no horse.
Look at now I'm trying to get you into horse.
No,
I had you in a horse and buggy.
Did you ride him?
No, you know what? I got on one horse one time when Daddy worked at Lamb's because they had a horse named Buck. It was an old workhorse.
Oh my gosh.
She
Yeah.
asked me to ride
And,
some horse and no.
It was
I don't like to get you
all I
around.
did was bounced up and down and back hurt.
Yeah.
We didn't used to ride the
You
horses.
didn't know how to
'cause
post.
remember when Swarthmore used to rent horses?
Swarthmore?
Yeah, they up on the hill they could go rent horses. From up right across. What's that place? Where your father used to work?
Strathaven Inn.
Remember up on the hill they rent horses? You could rent bicycles. And Hoyk and them used to rent the horses.
Oh, really?
And come back in the South and you with them. I'm sure it did. But
Lay still.
now I asked you about your mom and your dad. One was from Delaware, and one was from Pennsylvania. You stayed with your aunt, and the Websters are related to you. What else do I need from you? Come on, Clarence, help me.
Who?
Well,
I'm trying not to repeat it.
all the relatives, you've gone over most of her relatives, yeah, and you went back as far as you could, as far as her ancestors were concerned. She indicated that she didn't know of any of her ancestors who were slaves, right?
Right. And we got into the church.
Mm-hmm.
Did she hold any positions in it?
Yes, that's it. Did you hold any positions in the church? Any positions?
Oh, I
Yes,
mean,
you did, Mother.
Yeah, but I mean,
You have to sit and think. You did.
yeah, well,
And I got to get him ready so I can't talk.
yeah, well, I forget what they were, but I did, you know.
Like, were you on the deacon board, like one of the deaconesses or steward board? I know you was
That
on
was
the
on the
steward.
steward, yeah, I was
Yeah,
steward, yeah.
How about
Yeah.
Who?
ushering?
Teresa.
No, I never.
Your son's not
I
getting up till
remember
11
you
o'clock,
being in the
and,
kitchen too.
Yeah, oh yeah, I was, yeah, you
So
know.
you must have been on one of them cooking committees.
Yeah,
You're supposed
And
to
yeah,
then,
I,
so you
yeah,
were one of the stewardesses.
yeah,
What?
yeah,
Um,
So she'll be here in 10 minutes.
I don't know what
Singing in the choir, Miss Gladys?
Yes,
yeah,
you
yeah.
did.
mhm.
This is not a joke, but some people get angry when I ask it. Well, what do they drink for communion? Wine or grape juice?
Huh?
What did you have for communion? Wine or grape juice?
I don't
Sometimes-
know what it was.
Sometimes they drink wine, and some will say drink wine, and the
I guess it
Bible
was
says
grape
so.
juice. I
Some
don't
people
know.
drink
It didn't
grape
taste
juice.
like it didn't taste like no wine to me.
Most churches today have grape juice.
Just
grape juice.
what do
Yeah.
we serve?
We do.
I'm talking, but you talking about back in the day? Did they serve wine or grape? See, I know they serve grapefruit. Grape
Grape
juice
juice.
now.
Mm.
I don't know whether they serve wine back in.
Well, I don't remember ever getting wine.
churches
No.
do.
No.
They might
Yeah,
have, but I don't.
Some people did serve wine back in the day,
Yeah.
a long time ago. But now they serve.
Grape
Most of
juice,
it
grape
is-
juice. Yeah.
I don't know what they served in St. Paul
Yeah, I went
because we
to
couldn't take it.
I went to a
We were too
wedding.
young.
I went to a wedding one time, and up in Reading, and the priest kept drinking the wine. They were drinking wine, and somebody said, "There he goes again! There he goes again!"
No, they were enjoying that, weren't they?
Yeah.
Well, they drink wine. The Catholics,
Is that right? Yeah.
they drink the wine for real, for real.
There's one question. There's one question at the end. Well, go ahead.
We went to a wedding and they had grape juice.
Oh, did
Catholic
they?
church. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
I guess maybe it's according to when it is in there.
that could be
But
true.
no, because
Yeah.
like the ones at the sissy house, those retarded people,
Mm.
the Catholics. They don't see nothing wrong with the wine. Which is
No.
not true. It's
That was what they
true, but
drank
it's not
in
wrong with it.
the time of Christ. Right?
Yeah.
So now,
One
you
other
start
question.
up with that question. Give me another one.
I don't know, that just came to mind, you know. Since you were talking about the church, I just wondered what kind of positions. that
Oh,
you
okay.
have.
Like for yourself, have you ever felt any discrimination here in America? I mean, well, it's in all over America. Here in media, like coming over media, like going to the stores or anything. Have you ever felt any discrimination?
Mm-mm.
You just never went into the spots that discriminated.
No. Mm-mm. No. I never had any trouble with that.
So you just never went. Wherein,
How about you, Jesse? You never felt no discrimination in the stores and places and media, have you?
Yeah,
Oh.
You know that.
yeah.
But,
Oh, well, you have a.
Townhouse, all of State Street.
Wait, huh?
mhm.
All
The
the way.
townhouse was when you ate in the kitchen. Couldn't eat. in the
Well, I
dining
didn't
room.
know nothing about
Well,
that.
I'm just telling you
Yeah,
what
I
I've
never
seen.
went to.
And State Street, all them restaurants and
Well, I didn't
tap
do that.
rooms.
I
You
wasn't.
weren't
I
allowed
wasn't. I ate at home. I didn't.
Me
Very
and
good,
Dynamo,
smart.
hey, Binky, me and Dynamo came from Korea. Came from Korea. We gonna stop at me and get a drink.
Mhm.
You know what? They closed the door and said we were drunk.
Mm.
And then,
We just came back from Korea.
mhm.
That's right.
and that was in what? In the 50s.
In the 50s, yeah.
Yeah, it was in
Yeah.
the 50s, cause it was in the 50s.
Right.
That's right.
hmm So media's always had that. Most of the time, I guess
Every
we
place
just
was like
didn't.
that. Every place was like
We
that.
just didn't go. You know what I mean? If we knew they didn't want you in there, you just didn't
Don't
go.
bother.
Yeah, your money went somewhere else.
Feel
That's
all
all.
right.
There's a question there. What would you like to say to your descendants, especially him? In other words, you can address what you would like to say to him, because we're all going to pass on someday. You understand what I'm
Or
saying?
would you like to leave?
Right. Right. What
What
would you like
to say to him?
Right.
For him to know who you were,
So,
and something that you would like to say to him that would keep his memory alive of you.
yeah, future, because
Yeah, future.
my
Which
Uncle
would
George
be-
did that. He told the kids, you know,
Um,
he always
I
loved
didn't
them.
know.
Or then, if not him, then your children as a whole, all of your children, grandchildren, great grandchildren. Would you like them to remember you?
Remember me as a grandmother. That's a great grandmother
And a mother.
and a mother. Yeah.
Well, sometimes you would like to say, tell them you love them or something like that, you know.
Look, he's looking at you.
Yeah, and that way,
He's really very smart.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he is.
And they seem to all be smart until they go to school. And all of a sudden, wham!
Look at
So we
him.
never know.
He's having his little fun.
Mhm.
yes. How about your friends? Different friends and other family members.
Yeah.
Would you like to say
Roxy,
something to them?
She said that Roxy is going to be, Glenn's not going to get off till later, and instead of Roxy coming,
You know what?
she's going to take him
Huh?
To your church members,
and tell him I said she's going to be here.
Church member.
to your fellow church members.
Whatever turns them
Would you
on.
like to say something about St. Paul?
No. I just enjoy going to St. Paul. I've been in St. Paul for years, so I just enjoy going there.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, that's real fun.
That's good. So you're saying you enjoyed going to St. Paul, and you met a lot of. Most of the people that are there have been there for years anyway.
Yeah.
So most of them have been your good friends, and
Yeah, we got along, yeah.
Did she have
How about the
another
music?
bag, Jess?
Music, favorite song.
No,
Yeah, wasn't another
yeah.
bag?
What's your favorite song?
Yeah.
Your favorite song?
Church song.
What's your favorite church
Well,
song?
one of my songs is There's Not a Friend Like the Lonely Jesus. No, not one. You know that, don't
Yes,
you? Yeah.
yes,
that's a
yes.
You want to sing it for us?
No, I wouldn't do those.
Oh, hey,
That would be nice. Few bars. Just a few bars.
Mrs.
No,
Lee
you
did that for us.
you sing it, you know it.
Yeah, Mrs. Lee, do you remember Mrs. Lee? I'm trying to remember. Mrs. Minnie Lee, she sang one for us, yeah.
Did she?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's something. So we know your favorite song is there now.
Mm-hmm. That's good. At least we know that one, yeah.
And your favorite verse in the church. Do you have a favorite one? A verse? Church verse.
Favorite verse.
You mean from the Bible?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll get to see that to her.
Oh, a Bible verse.
Something from the Bible. Any from Psalms or Proverbs or Revelations or Genesis or whatever. You have any one?
Well, I mean, the Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want.
That's your favorite.
23rd song.
That's one of
That's
them.
good. That's good.
Mhm.
And what else do we need to know?
I remember that song they used to sing a lot down there. There's a highway to heaven. I
Yeah.
was looking
Yes.
around for the highway. I didn't know where it was.
Highway to
He's
heaven.
still looking for the highway.
None can go up there, but nothing but the pure in heart.
Yes.
The highway to
yes.
heaven.
I think that's a pretty song.
That is a pretty song.
I know. There's a song that I always like. It's Because He
I'll
Lives.
finish that later.
I love that song.
What?
Because He Lived.
Because he lives, yeah.
I can face tomorrow. I
There
love
she
it.
is, right there.
She's
This is not his mother.
Oh,
This is his aunt.
Oh, okay.
So actually, those songs were almost like sermons, weren't they? Because that's the only thing I remember is the music. That's all I remember. The sermons I don't remember, but I remember the music.
She's coming
And that's
back.
probably
She's
true.
coming back.
Yeah,
Yeah, they really are.
yeah. The one I used to like to hear is "When I've Done My Best." You remember that one? When I've Done My Best.
Yeah.
The old hymns,
best I can.
they don't sing much anymore.
No,
No.
They're singing hymns now. I don't even know where they get them from.
but if they sing the old ones, they mess
I
it
don't
up.
know where they get them from. They don't sing them old hymns anymore.
No, they don't sing
Like
any,
at the cross
hardly
and
ever
all,
sing an
and-
old hymn.
Right.
How they get the old hymn, the audience sing.
Oh, why don't you have?
And they sound so much better.
Yeah.
The old hymn sounds so much better. Hi.
Hello, this is Sharitha. This is my he knows you. I see her, his auntie. This is my grandson's wife.
Okay, hi. How you doing?
Hey, mother.
So that's an in-law.
So she comes to pick up.
You might as well get a picture of her. Come around this way. Sit down.
Young blood.
Yeah, a young person.
She's gonna take me.
You might want to ask her some questions.
But no, she's.
Oh, he knows.
No, I'm all right.
Well, she's part of. She is part of what's called a.
No, she is my grandson. She's my daughter's son's wife.
Okay.
My grandson's wife, right?
Okay.
I'll get it right, you know.
Yeah,
but
so
I'm
that's
trying to
what
get things-
generation are you
Yeah, well,
talking?
What generation?
Third, fourth.
Further down,
Fourth.
yes, further down there.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
they're the fifth generation. The great grands.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So you're the fourth generation in-law, outlaw.
Yeah, like you say, in-laws are
That's the
outlaws.
So,
Jesse, where did you live at when you lived in South Media?
Ronaldson Street, next to the school.
All right. And what was your mother and father's name?
My father's name, you mean maiden name?
Yeah, your mother's maiden name,
Bundy.
Bundy,
Yeah.
and your father was
Rice.
first name.
Rice.
First name,
Jesse.
Jesse.
I'm junior.
Okay, you're the junior one. And what school did you go to?
I went to Nether Province.
What grade did you go?
I graduated.
What grade did you start off at? 7th?
Yeah.
You didn't go to Wallingford?
Nah.
Okay. When you
I
moved
started
to,
at the old building, Nether Province.
okay. So that's when you had moved. Where did you move from?
I moved from Media Park.
Media Park into South Media.
No, Media Park, down here by Marshalls.
Oh, okay. And then when you left Media Park, you came to.
South Media. Was Moreland. Used to call it Moreland.
Right.
Ronson Street.
So how long did you live there?
Quite a while.
It was many years. And how many sisters and brothers did you have?
I have James, Bernice, Howard, and I had one brother. He passed away, Howard. You remember him?
Right, right.
Yeah.
We called him Baby Button.
Baby Bunny
We have a sister named Mary.
and Mary.
And Mary.
Yeah.
Okay, and are they all still living, or?
Mary and James lives in Norristown.
I would love to
Okay.
see them.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Bernice lives in Westchester.
Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm.
And it's been many a year.
Yeah.
Many a
long
year.
time.
I remember Bernice was, I think, was the first black cheerleader
Cheerleader.
at another
At the
province.
province.
That
Yeah.
was his sister.
Yeah.
That was the first black
Yeah.
cheerleader.
I didn't know.
Got another province. Yeah,
Yeah.
first black one. I remember that. Because they never had nothing else. She was the first one.
She was the first. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I guess she must have been in Wallingford when you started at another province, because she was younger than you, right?
Yeah. I'm the
Yeah.
oldest.
Yeah. So if you started in, did she start in another province or did she start in Wallingford? Because Wallingford had 5th and 6th grade.
Yeah.
She started at another province.
Okay. And first black cheerleader. I can remember.
Yeah. She was.
And she was who was in the, was James in the band?
No, I don't think
Who
so.
was it? I'm trying to think. I can remember somebody being in the band, blowing that thing.
I don't know. Let's see. I don't remember.
And where did your mother and father originate from?
My mother was from Virginia, and my father was from West Grove.
Okay, up in the same area.
And his mother and my father's mother and father were from West Grove.
Okay, did you know whether they had any enslaved people in their family?
They did. Yeah. My father's mother, she was a slave
Where?
out there by West Grove, out there somewhere.
They had a slave, I mean, they were slaves out there?
Yeah.
See, I don't know why I thought it was.
Pennsylvania.
Oh, she was a slave there in West Grove.
Yeah.
Okay, ooh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And then, now how long ago was that? Hadn't they freed the
It must have
slaves
been
by that
because I
time?
was a teenager at the time.
He said she was a slave.
Oh, okay.
She was. Yeah.
And they had freed her.
Yeah.
Oh my God, isn't that a
That was some
disgrace?
beautiful history.
Huh?
That would have been some beautiful history to get from her.
Yes.
Yeah, really.
Of course, a lot of us were, I don't know, I'm not speaking for you, but a lot of us were shamed and to not wanting to talk about it, you know.
And my mother, she didn't know her mother
Mother and father.
and father.
She was raised by the Bundys.
She was raised by the money. That's why her name was Martha Bundy. Until she married my father, Rice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's, you know,
So she didn't know either one of her parents.
No.
but you know, wasn't that something beautiful about the past though? I mean, you didn't have social workers. Somebody took you in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you became family. Mm-hmm.
Then my mother had a brother, was named Charles Bundy. He lived in Philadelphia, but he's deceased now. He was short like me.
Okay. Did they raised him too, right?
Yeah.
So how many children did your mother have? Your grandmother have? Just the girl and the boy, or was there any more?
Just a girl and a boy, that's all.
And then they raised they had raised them from infants,
Yeah.
so she doesn't know whatever happened to her
No.
own mother and father.
No.
Back in them days, she could have been
They didn't
sold
have
off
this.
to somebody or did anything.
They didn't tell, you know, back in them days, they didn't tell you too much, no way.
No,
They
no.
didn't, because they never told you who your relation was or this and that. You had to find out for yourself.
Oh, okay.
It's true.
Yeah.
Because you could be out there having a good time. You'd be dancing with somebody. First thing you know, it could be your daughter or your son. 'Cause your
Okay.
parents,
You,
let-
your sister,
parents-
brother.
Sister or
Yeah,
brother.
yeah.
Sister, your brother.
Your
Yeah.
the parents during that time they try to keep everything secret, which you know they should tell you what's going on.
Yeah, well, especially if you dance or
But
carrying on with your
you didn't know
relatives.
until you got out there.
Yeah,
Right.
You know, and you
Right.
go home and say, "Mother, I met somebody." They say, "Well,
But
that's
they-
your," you know.
Yeah, they would tell you that.
Relative.
They would tell you that. They say, "Look, that's your cousin." You know what I mean? Yeah, you would know that for real.
That's right.
But and back in the, I guess I don't know. Well, people were more private then.
Oh, they were
Too
You
private.
know, old
Very
folks
private.
were really private.
very private.
Too private when it comes to that. Yeah.
You have some white folks in the attic too. And a lot of times people didn't want to talk about.
Because you never heard of any abuse in back there, people doing anything to their wives, did you? I never heard of it.
No,
Not like you
that
do
was
today.
And I guess
that
everything
was
was doing.
that was kept in the house.
Yeah.
And you better not come out
You better
that
not
door.
tell him.
You better not come out that door and tell somebody that you've been abused.
You never
Because
heard
then the
anything
law
like that.
might lock you up for telling somebody you've been
Because you knew
abused.
the policemen then, Mac
Yeah.
McCarty and
Oh,
all
yeah.
them. You knew them. You know, they would talk to your family. If they would see you someplace, they would go and tell your mother and father.
But you know what?
Too, right?
That was kind of unique to South media itself.
Yes.
Because I mean, if you listen to people that lived in the city or people that didn't live in South media, they had a whole different experience.
Yes,
You know,
yes. It's where you live.
And
Yeah.
Fred Douglass, he knew everything.
So,
Oh, yeah.
He was number one.
Fire marshal. What was he, a fire marshal?
Was he related to Frederick Douglass?
We don't know.
You
We
know?
don't know.
You don't know.
Remember, he used to come around and make sure that everybody's, you couldn't have a light shining through the
Oh,
window or
that
something.
was during the
What
war.
was he up to?
Air raid marshal.
Like a farmer or
He
something.
had a fire
That was air
marshal.
raid.
It was a blackout.
Air raid or something. Air raid.
Yeah,
That was
air raid
air
warden.
raid warden.
That's what it was, air raid warden. And he'd be
Yeah.
knocking, he said one little light crack.
But you know, you think back, there were some good old days. I don't
Yes,
know
they
what I
were.
said.
They were.
Yeah.
People were so, they were closer to one another. Everybody seemed to be in tune.
Well, you know what, I don't think there was like, I don't think anybody had envy or jealousy or anything like that. I mean, I guess because we all had nothing.
We didn't have
You know what I'm saying?
And one another had mother and
Yeah,
father.
but we had
They're gone.
Right,
That's all you need.
and that's
And have food.
Yeah, and house to house, and everybody's house was your house. Oh, no.
Ain't none of the restaurants you could go in. And if you walk down the street and a man see you coming to the door, he close the door and tell you he's closed.
That was just for black people.
Yeah, right. I know. I experienced it.
Mm-hmm.
Then like when me and Donna Mo came back from Korea, we went to the spot. We just walked in. The man said we were drunk. Now how you gonna be drunk? You just came from Korea. We had to go down to the chief of police, which was on State Street. He went back out there and had the man of service.
Who's the chief of
Something?
police then?
Who was the chief then?
He was way ahead.
Was Lord or what?
Something.
Something.
I know he was white.
Something.